now let's chit chat with Big Ted. I've always known him as Big Ted. He's not big anymore. We're going to find out his new name. However, he is the Director of Brand Strategy and Events at State House. Hey, Big Ted.
Hi, how are you doing?
So change. Nika Fajo. Unajua Fajo is not Fajo anymore.
No, but you know, the real reason why I was called big wasn't because of the size of my body, the size of my wallet. And here we say, wallet pod pack.
Wallet pod pack.
Yeah. It means the wallet is so heavy.
Oh, it's heavy.
Yeah.
How have you been?
Awesome, amazing. Just here out in the city, just breathing in and breathing out, and taking some time off.
What has it umehama Kisumu? Ni ukweli?
Well, yes, to be honest, I'm actually heavily considering. After all, it's only 30 minutes to Nairobi, and we have 6 flights a day.
Yes.
You can always be here and be there at the same time.
Yes, so thank you so much. Courtesy of Selly Tours and Travels. Yay. That's how you get to travel back to Nairobi. It's really becoming, first of all, it's cleaner than the last time I remember. It's a lot cleaner in some parts than Nairobi. It's, the vibe. I was saying how the essence of the city of Kisumu has really changed. I can't put my finger on it, but it's just really different.
Well, I think number one, it has a lot to do with the people of Kisumu. There's a great vibe about this town. Number one, we are right on a water body. Then we have all the connector. And then remember, Kisumu is actually the capital city of East Africa.
Yeah.
Having brought out all these things. And then the great things about Kisumu, the first flight in this country came out of Kisumu. You know that?
Yeah, you learn something new every day.
The first flight actually landed right here in Kisumu years ago.
You get to learn something new every day.
Yeah,
I actually didn't know that.
It's a place of fasts. And the people here enjoy and consume a lot of art. And art being music, being visual art, they're pretty artsy, if I may say.
Okay. Now, with more than 18 years actually of being a part of the media industry and events and, a lot more, how do you bring that to what you're now doing? Because you're doing more inspiration and you have a school and you've really broadened the brand Big Ted.
Well, I think number one, it's the strategy of reinvention.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should actually think about the reinvention of their craft or their art, because you can't just be stand still at one place. At some point, you get a bit frustrated because of the people who are coming after you, who are running after you, trying to be you.
Yeah.
And some of them actually manage to overtake you and keep on running. So you always have to keep ahead of the game, reinvent yourself, try and bring out a new vibe about you to make you relevant to every generation that comes either before or after you.
Yeah. Well, we've seen a lot of artists who've managed to reinvent themselves and stay relevant in the game. We have Nameless and, recently as well, by the way, Redsan, he launched his album.
Yes.
And I know you know where I'm going with this question. Lakini unajua ni kwa nini? Kwa sababu Big Ted alimanaging Red for years.
Yes, I did. Redsan, Chameleon, and Baby Cool were actually part of a stable which I took up for a pretty long time. And I've seen them grow and blossom into the artists that they are right now. And I've seen lots of other people in the industry also just come out and become big artists and big acts. But I think what needs to happen, the fishes are becoming too big for the pond. So at some point, the fishes have to rethink the strategy. Either they jump to a bigger pond or they expand their pond.
Kwa sababu tuko Kisumu lazima utumie hizo nini za samaki, kila kitu.
Okay.
Anyway, but I'm kidding.
Isiolo ungetumia? Okay, so anyway.
Hakuna maji huko, so sijui tunge.
Labda sababu watu wa Isiolo hawezi ongea matope.
Wow. Yani lazima tu every week mtu tuani atoe kwa show, but it's all right. It's all right. So I mean, with no controversy, all of those years, all of a sudden, all of these things happened to Redsan. What are your thoughts?
Well, various things are running through my mind, and I think I had a chance to call him up and just have a small talk with him. And I think number one, it's the changing face of number one, social media, and at the very end, because very many things happened before social media, and we didn't know about it. But here we have somebody who recorded a voice note of whatever was going on, and everybody is able to see it. But beefs are there. real beefs, not just small ones. They're there. They've been there for the longest time. I remember 12, 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, when we were just starting out in the industry, we also had our own beefs. I remember at the Street Jam on Baricha Road, we had a big beef with Joe Menace, Boys and Band. It was reported in the Pulse. That time, Pulse was the only thing which could come out. Another time, there's always been beef. But this one, because it's in the public domain, is looked at like, hey, what did Redsan do?
And then only we got like one half of the story.
Yeah,
we only got towards the end.
And remember, Redsan, for those who know him, is a very humble giant.
Very humble.
Extremely.
I've never seen him upset.
Extremely well disciplined. So I would love to say that this is just one of those things. I would want to know deeper. But one of the things that I also suggested is a reconciliation. We don't need beef at this time with producers or with artists or with DJs or with anybody. I think we just need to focus and go in one direction as an industry, regardless of where you are.
Yeah. Okay, so now you have a lot to offer the industry, by the way. And with that, I was talking about the school that you opened. Would tell us more about this school?
All right. So for the longest time, I'm not one of those guys who's gone to deep schools, etc. Group of schools, by the way.
Group of schools.
Yeah. But which school were you in? Was it a polling station or a presidential debate?
Mimi sielewi nimefanya nini umse, but I was at Kenya High School.
Okay. So I was actually at the Prince of Wales.
What a lie. Alikuwa tu hapa Kariobangi hata ikuwa shule. Unadanganya nani? Anyway, so you didn't go to group
I
of
was
schools.
the Prince of Wales, actually, in Nairobi school.
That's what it was called.
No, that's what it's called.
Wait, you're in my brother's school?
Yeah, just next door.
Mulikuwa sura
But you know-
mbaya.
but you know what-
Mimi mtu handsome
You
yote
can't
uko
say
Nairobi
that. I didn't know
school.
what bomber means.
What does it
Anyway,
mean?
let's be
What does
easy.
it mean? What does it mean? Niambie, what does it mean?
I'll tell
Niambie
you.
tu,
I'll tell you
it's
after the
beautiful?
break. Aye.
Original?
Wh-
Marvelous? Inamaanisha niambie tu Ted, sijui. Ukweli sijui, by the way.
Ndamwambia after hii show. Acha
Ni-
nijibu
ni
ile
madharau?
swali
Ni
yako.
matusi hivyo mbaya?
Ni mbaya manze.
Lakini nilisikia mlikuwa mnasema gati ni mahandsome. Ni ukweli?
Mulikuwa wa brothers. Mulikuwa wa brother school.
So sasa sio inamaanisha nyinyi mlikuwa mnapenda machali kwa sababu mlikuwa mnatukatia sana.
Kwa sababu our school was Pango. And that's why we had something called OPP, Operation Patch Pango. And ask you, he was there.
Oh. So unaweza tuliendelea nayo brother sister school mpaka mwisho.
I see what you just did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, so you didn't go to group of schools?
Yeah. So one of the things that as an industry we need to do is to actually institutionalize our industry in terms of being able to set standards and best practices that can actually be leveled against anything else. Now, one of the things that happened when I went to government, I discovered that in government they have something called a job group. And the job group is actually basically benchmarked on education, on some certificates and everything. And that's why very many artists are not able to get very, very good pay from government because there is a job group. And because we don't have that standard, it's very hard for us to get onto a good pay scale. So one of the things that I thought I should do as I continue in the industry is to bring out a school where we're able to teach not only the arts but also entrepreneurship, because that's a very, very big problem that we have. Where many of the times, if you think how many shoes have you bought, how many clothes have you bought, but how much have you invested, how much have you saved, how much have you been able to set up your life for the next part, because you won't be young for long.
You won't.
You know, I told you earlier on, I mean, 15 years I was on radio, and 15 years on radio, I can't believe it's been that long, but it's true.
Yeah, and you know the people who you joined radio with,
Yeah.
they're still in radio.
Yes.
You moved on, you've done all of these different things.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they've stagnated their career?
Well, there's some people who have gone out and actually diversified, but
Yeah.
I think there's a big danger with the comfort zone. And the comfort zone actually lies to you because and I remember when we used to roll with the Redsan and etc. We would have no fear. I mean, people are staying in their parents' houses. We're just having a good time. But the biggest problem is if you always assume that every weekend you can make 10,000 shillings, then you'll never think beyond the 10,000 shillings. It's like going to a gym and only lifting 20 kilogram weight. So you'll never actually bulk. you'll always have this small frame, well defined, but it always remains small.
Yeah.
So many people are afraid to step out.
Yeah.
Some are afraid of failure. Some are afraid of what if. But you see, in the what if is actually where you define and actually where you find your purpose and your true place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Manze unaona vile ameongea kwa sababu sikiza anitonga Pastor Ted.
Yes.
Are you going to open a church?
Well, I actually have a church, an
way.
online church.
Okay.
Yes.
It's called the Instagram church.
Check this out. This is what I believe. I believe that God created everybody to reach out to somebody. And I think everyone in this world has been given a particular purpose and homework by God to deal with various things. So you don't necessarily have to run to a pastor or a priest or whatever. I believe the priest is actually right next to you. And that's why sometimes strangers can have the best intentions for you than actually people you've known for a long time.
Very true.
Yes.
Very, very true. All right, so Big Ted, thank you so much for coming through.
Awesome. Well, okay.
Wasalimia.
So, I think for me, one of the most important things that young people need to understand is three things: believe, begin, become. And in any place that you're in life, especially I want to speak to the guys in the creative arts, that this is your time. 10 years ago, anybody who was a plant engineer in a big factory was seen to be the biggest thing in the world. But right now, 10 years later, with automation, that person is no longer big. The next frontier is the creative arts. So it's a good place to invest in, but listen, two things you must have. One, you must have the drive. Two, you must be scalable. And three, you must be disciplined. Because discipline will keep you where your talent will take you. Yeah.
Ni kama alikuwa ameprepare.
Deep.
So sasa nataka kusema we're going to take a short break, we're going to be back. Nisema hata na Kijaka.
Well, Kijaka mtu tumia kizungu kwa sababu you're in Kisumu. Here everybody
It's the same.
Yeah.
Okay, English ndo Kijaluo.
It's actually the exact words in Kijaluo.
Oh, it's exactly.
Yeah.
We are going to be right back.
And then you just finish with donge.
Donge. We're going to be right back. Donge.